guys, it's Ashley, and today I'm going to be talking about some of the fantasy series that I really need to be getting to soon. So if you were around a while ago, you might have seen my fantasy series I Need to Read Part 1. I didn't have a Part 1 in it, but that's what I'm calling it because this thing I'm doing now, this is part 2. If you're like me, you have a lot of series and books that you just haven't gotten to yet. You haven't been on BookTube very long, you haven't been watching very long, you haven't discovered a lot of the series that other people have while they've been kind of growing with their channels, and that's basically me. So today I'm just gonna start talking to you guys about some more fantasy series. Yes, more, there are lots more, trust me, that I haven't read yet, but I really want to get to soon. So without further ado, let's get started. And side note, I will leave that first fantasy series I need to read down below for you guys to check out if you want to see. So the first series that I really need to be getting to soon is the Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer, or specifically Cinder, which is the book that I have. A little bit of a story time here. I actually started reading Cinder as an audiobook on my way to Orlando, I think, and I got to chapter 4 and then got really carsick and was completely stopped and never picked it up again. I have the physical copy. I think I got this from a friend some holiday time ago. I think it was Ray actually, so thanks Ray. But now that I have the physical copy, I'm really excited to get into it. I know that this series is really interesting. It's like a really interesting take on the retellings of Cinderella and Snow White and Rapunzel. It's kind of set in this sci-fi Beijing, I think, right? Possibly? I'm gonna go with it. And it just makes me so much more interested to pick them up, so they're number 1 on my list. Next on my list is the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy by Laini Taylor. This also possibly includes Strange the Dreamer, though I don't know if that's a series, and that has nothing to do with this series, but I'm putting it in here anyways because Laini Taylor. So, Daughter of Smoke and Bone, I have absolutely no idea what it's about. I've heard that it's very confusing to try to explain. I feel like it has something to do with angels. I know that it's Kat's favorite series. I think it's still her favorite series. It was for a while. So I know that I need to get to it. It's also a long time loved BookTube series that I just haven't gotten to yet and know next to nothing about. So number 2 on my list, ladies and gentlemen. Next up, I have Shadow and Bone, or the Grisha trilogy in general, by Leigh Bardugo. As you've probably heard in some of my other videos, I really want to get into this series to see if it'll get me more into the world and more into finishing Six of Crows finally, though that's not my only reason for wanting to read this series. I've just heard so many good things, and I know that a lot of people recently, like Christine, has actually read this series and read it really fast and really enjoyed it, so I'm really excited to get into it. Again, I really know nothing except that it has to do with something about Russia. It's like set in Russia, or it's got some Russian folklore or something. I know there's a Nikolai, and that's pretty Russian. Also magic! Next up, I have Truth Witch by Susan Dennard, or just the entire series in general. Again, I really don't know anything. I really need to know more about these series. As far as I know, this is about a girl. She is a Truth Witch, which means that she can tell when other people are lying. That's all I got. Also, the cover is really pretty. Like, can we just take it? I love this cover. I know that the 3rd book in this series slash trilogy, I don't know what it is coming out soon, either probably next year, I think, or the end of this year. No, it has to be next year. Is it the end of this year? Next, I actually have Red Rising by Pierce Brown, which my sister read and absolutely loved, and that means that I can't wait to get into it. I've been meaning to read this for a really long time, specifically because my sister read it and she said it was really good, and I wanted to go for it and I just never did. I think that this one is more sci-fi than fantasy. It's like set on other planets, or it's set on Mars. Is that what it is? But also it has to do with like your color, has to do with your status or the place in the hierarchy and something, and then this guy finds out that he's something. Me and synopses, guys. Overall, I've just heard really good things, and I really want to start reading it. Next on my list, I have The Fifth Wave by Rick Yancey, which is honestly a pretty old series. I feel like this series has been around for a really long time, even though the last book only came out last year. I've never seen the movie, never read the book. I know it's about aliens invading, and that's pretty much all I got. I know that a lot of people say that the first book is the best, and then the series just goes kind of down from there. I've heard that people say that the series is just really good in general, so I'm really interested just to see why people have such differing opinions. Next up, I have the Firebird trilogy, or the first book, 1,000 Pieces of You by Claudia Gray. I think this is called the Firebird trilogy, right? Right? I genuinely don't know what this is about. Surprise, surprise. The reason that I really wanted to get into this and was excited for it was because somebody, somewhere I heard, said that it was a really good series a while ago, but also it has to do with alternate dimensions. And I'm just like a sucker for anything that has to do with alternate dimensions and like that kind of theory and that science stuff, and yes. Next up, I have Ruby Red by Kirsten Gier. This is a book that I've had for a while and just haven't picked up yet. Also, I feel like this is an older BookTube favorite. I don't know. Tell me if I'm wrong. Another short story time. I actually suggested this book to my best friend Casey when she asked me what to read because she thought that it looked really pretty, and I was like, hey, you read it and then I'll read it and then we can talk about it together. And then she was like, okay, and then she read it and I never read it and I still feel bad. So Casey, if you're watching, I'm sorry. Leave me a nasty comment down below, girl, because I know you will. This series basically is about time traveling, and that's all I know. If you can't already tell, I like to go into stories blind. I know general gists, but not much, so, time travel. Yes. And the final book that I have on this list today is Because of Deception, or whatever this, The Remnant Chronicles by Mary E. Pearson. I hauled this one a really long time ago. I feel like I also put it on Instagram. I did like a book outlet haul, I think, on my Instagram story, and literally almost every comment that I got was about this series. I don't know what it is about this series that makes it so good, because I have absolutely no idea what it's about. Like, zero idea what it's about. I can't even begin to tell you like if I know a gist of it or just a piece of, no, I've literally never heard anything about this series. But so many people told me that it was good. And I was just so surprised that so many people had that big of a reaction to it when I hauled it, that like, I'm putting it on this list because I need to know what it's about. I just genuinely don't know, but I want to know, and that's why I want to read it. And so those were all of the fantasy series in my part 2 segment of this video that I really want to get to. Obviously the Lunar Chronicles and the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy are like BookTube favorites, long-time fan favorites that I'm dying to get to at some point, but a lot of the other series have either come up recently or, you know, have just been really popular, and I'm super excited to get to them too. So if you've read any of these series, please let me know which one you think that I should get to first, because I am genuinely, like, I don't have a particular order I want to get to them. I have a couple of other books I need to get to first, and eventually I'll get to these, but I'm still super excited to hear what you guys are gonna say, so please let me know. Ease this confused mind by telling me what to read, please. So you guys, that is going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you later. Goodbye!